Good morning. Thank you for joining us here at our general information meeting at Lund University. My name is Kristen Klarberg. I'm working at Lund University and with the international desk, working with arrival days and the orientation weeks.
Yes, and my name is Maria Yartseva, and I also work with arrival days and orientation weeks, as well as in the international desk.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you are able to reach us. And as we wrote in the first slide, if you have any questions during this meeting, please save them and put them in the Q&As, and we'll answer them after the end of the presentation. So today we're going to talk about, to hopefully get you started on some general information about Lund University. A lot of this information you can find in Canvas as well, in the course Orientation Guide to Lund University. So today we'll talk about some study information at Lund. We'll talk a little bit about the orientation weeks and the course in Canvas that is called the Orientation Guide to Lund University. We'll talk a little bit about some academic matters and help you with some tips to settle in. At the end, later on in the week, actually next week, pardon me, we'll have a quiz as well with some prizes. So these days, it can be a lot of information. We understand that it can be a bit overwhelming. So we have some resources you can always turn to if you have questions about, any questions about studying at Lund University or life in Lund. Also, including the other campuses, Helsingborg and Malmö. We have the website for current students, which I'll show you in a moment. We have the Orientation Guide to Lund University, which you find in Canvas, and you should have gotten a link to that earlier. We have the International Desk Facebook page. We also are available at the International Desk, both with physical meetings and an office you can come to. And we have Zoom meetings and telephone and email as well. For other academic matters, for example, if you have problems with your courses, we ask that you turn to your coordinator here at Lund University. Here you can see where the information for current students is at the Lund University website. And now that you're all here, you're all current students. You can click there and you can find a lot of different links about how to find a bike, some shopping, some information about money matters, insurance, lots and lots of information.
So in the email that you got last week from International Desk, you got a link to the Canvas orientation guide for the spring 2022. You have also been invited with your student account on Canvas. So you have to accept the invitation to this course in your Canvas when you log in. On this orientation guide, we have collected a lot of information about how to study in Lund, some practical matters on when to find a bike, for example, or housing, as well as the schedule for the orientation week activities. You can find, we have divided the Canvas guide in 3 parts. So the top module is about some general information about Lund University. And then we have 1 module about events and meetings. And then 1 module about student guide, which is more practical information. On the right-hand side, you can also find under to do, you can find press calendar, and then you can also get to the calendar where you can see all of the activities that are in, we have planned so far. And we have International Desk where you can come and ask questions about non-academic matters or other issues that you have during your stay in Lund. And we have opening hours during orientation weeks. They are between 11th and 21st of January 2022. We have open Monday to Thursday between 9:30 and 12. And then we have phone hours between 10 and 12, Monday to Friday, and Zoom hours on Fridays, 13 to 15. And then after the 24th of January, we have regular opening hours, and they are Monday to Thursday, 9:30 to 12:30. And we have phone hours Monday to Friday, 10 to 12, and Zoom hours on Fridays, 10 to 12. And you can find our opening hours on the website if you search for International Desk on Lund University website. And you can also find the visiting address and the email address and the phone number as well.
Yes, we hope most of you already joined the International Mentor Program. If you haven't or you don't know what this is, you can feel free to send an email to Farari at er.lu.se. The mentor program is basically current students who are mentors for new students. And they do lots of different fun activities and get together. And it's a great way to get to know other international students as well as some Swedish students. We also want to let you know that there is an Instagram contest out at the moment, hashtag HeyLundUni. This contest is, we want to know about your first impressions of Lund and life in Lund. It's important to know that we would like pictures with people in it and with you in it, but it's also important to know that we would like you to be following recommendations. So any kind of group shots or close pictures will not be counted in this contest. It's we want to show a safe and fun student life at Lund University. So try and think of dynamic ways to get yourself and your friends in a picture and show your first days here at Lund University. The contest ends on the 25th of January, and the prize are 3 LU backpacks like this.
So you might have gotten information about your courses already, and some of you will have to join your first class introductory meeting. And it's very important that you go to this meeting because that's where all of your registration and all of your first information will be given. And you also need to make sure that you have been registered for the courses that you're taking or the program, if you're studying a program. If you can't find your schedule, please contact your department or your international coordinator. And also please be very careful and pay attention to all of the mandatory course elements and lectures so that you don't miss anything important.
Now we'd like to let you know a little bit about the Academic Support Center. The Academic Support Center, we have a few films that will be on the Orientation Guide to Lund University Canvas course, and you can find those videos a little later on. And they'll go through a few tips, really important things to know when you're studying in Sweden, and especially at Lund University, as different universities in different countries have different ways of doing things. So the Academic Support Center can also help if you feel like you need extra help to get a good, to work on your writing skills, or if you need some help to get started to make a study plan, if you want to get help presenting in front of groups. So please contact them if you have any of these types of questions. But before doing that, please watch the videos that we'll provide for you on the Canvas course.
Yes, so now on to some practical matters around campus. So one card that you might need that can come in handy is the LU Access card. And this is a card that will be used on Lund campus, Lund University campus. So it will help you get into buildings and borrow books at the university libraries. And it's not the card to use for student discounts, but it is a card that you definitely need if around campus when you study. And you can get one at the main university library or the Faculty of Law library, as well as LTH.
The study center, yes, at the Faculty of Engineering, yes.
You also need to activate your student computer account if you haven't done that. It's the one that has 2 letters, 4 numbers, and 2 letters. If you have any trouble with activating your student account, please contact the international desk for help. You can email them with your question. And you also should keep track of your LU personal code number. It's also sometimes called the LADOC number. And it follows the format that you can see on the screen. So your date of birth, year, month, date, and then a T, and then 3 numbers. And this number is used within university only. So for example, if you need help with getting your access to LADOC, this is the number that you will use. But this is not used outside of Lund University.
It can be good to know that it doesn't have to be a T either. It can be other letters. So if you have a different letter, there's no worries. It's the same number.
And using public transport in Lund is quite easy. You can download the Skånetrafiken app. You go to www.skånetrafiken.se, And then in the app, you can buy tickets for any destination all around Skåne. And we also on our website, we have a video that explains how to use it as well. And Lund is a city where biking is very popular and it's very easy to get around with a bike. So we definitely recommend you buying one. And you can find information on how to buy a bike on the Canvas page. If you go to arrival checklist, one of the points is how to buy a bike, where we've linked some of the secondhand stores that we think are good for getting a bike. And we also recommend you, after you buy a bike, to use a proper lock, as it is an easy target for theft. As long as you keep a good lock on your bike, it's fine.
Lund is a very safe place.
It is very
But
safe.
bike theft, unfortunately, is
Yes.
quite common. We also maybe want to mention, it might be a good idea not to buy too much off Facebook or Facebook groups or other private sellers, as we can't be guaranteed that it's not a stolen bike being sold.
So the websites that we have provided on Canvas are websites and secondhand stores that we vouch for. And recycling is also a big part of Swedish lifestyle. And with all of your accommodations probably have some type of recycling station. And also we have recycling stations at the Lund University. And if you have any questions regarding recycling, you can ask for help, or you can also find some information on our Facebook page about recycling as well.
Yes, there are probably not many of you who fall under this category coming in spring. This is usually a bigger group in the autumn, but for students who have residence permit to stay in Sweden for 12 months or more, you can apply for a Swedish personal identification number, which is called, in Swedish is called a personnummer. And how you do that is you have to go to the tax office, which is called Skatteverket. You go there with all of your documents. We have a link on our Canvas page, I believe, with all of the information about what you need, which documents you need, and an application. You have to fill out the application online beforehand and print it and bring it with you, or fill it out online and save it. And you can fill in the last parts if you need help at the tax office. And they outline there exactly what documents you need. And after you apply for a personnummer, you can, once you get it, then it can enable you to do things like getting a bank account and have some other services. You can absolutely get by in Sweden without this number. It is other things can be a bit difficult, but we try to provide you with information about how to do this. So students who are here for 6 months, for example, will not probably be able to get this number. But so you may have some difficulties if you want to open a bank account, for example. But it's good to know that you need to, if you have questions, you can turn to us, and the information we provide, we always keep in mind that not all students have this number. There are tax offices in Lund and Malmö and Helsingborg. You should go to the tax office in the town where you are living. I should say that. So if you're living in Malmö, you should go to the Malmö tax office. Yes, also, if you are able to get this personal identification number from the tax office, it will be similar to the LOTOC number that we've been talking about, except it will be all numbers. There will be no letters. So it will be the year, month, and date of your birth, and 4 numbers. Once you have this number, you are also eligible to apply for free Swedish courses from the municipality. We call it SFI, Swedish for Immigrants. And then this you also apply for in the town where you're living. This is available in all different cities and communities. So if you live in Lund, you look through the Lund municipality website about how to apply for it. And you can just Google SFI Lund, and it usually pops right up. The same for Malmö and Helsingborg. If you have questions about this, you can also contact us at the international desk. If you have any problems or are working with issues regarding the migration board or permits and anything like that, many of you need to go, if you're here, many of you may need to go to Malmö to get your biometrics taken. You have to go to the Malmö office, even if there are other migration offices around. They're the ones who are able to do the biometrics. You should do that as soon as possible. So if you haven't already looked into that, you should book an appointment. Just go to the Migration Board's website, make sure that you go to the Malmo office and book an appointment to do that. Also, if you have any questions about this, I see we don't have the email here, but we have migration officers that work at the university that help us. You can find the email on the Canvas in orientation guide to Lund University. It's migration at er.lu.se.
Yes, and Lund University is famous for its student life. So we're gonna get into that a little bit now. So there's 3 steps that you need to follow. So first you need to register online at studentlund.se and pay the membership fee. And then after you have done that, you need to go and visit a nation to join a nation. It doesn't really matter which nation you join, they're all very similar in the types of activities they do. But some nations maybe do some activities more often or are focused on some types of activities. So you might want to look into that. But your membership in one nation gives you access to all of the events in other nations as well. And then after that, you are done and you can start joining the activities that the nations provide. And you also, when you're registered for Student Lund and you're registered at the nations, you get your Student Lund card, which will give you student discounts as well.
Yeah, also being a part of Student Lund means that you're a part of a union, a student union, and that's decided by which faculty at which you're studying. So if you're studying at the law faculty, then you're part of the law student union anyway. There's also the academic society called AF, which is also part of Student Lund.
So as we mentioned a little bit, the nations are where the events and activities happen. So if nations can organize pubs, cafes, lunches, they have fine dining and bigger events. They also have sports activities, they have choirs, nightclubs, and they also provide housing for their members. So they do a lot of different types of activities. So I recommend you to go to the different nations' websites or Facebook pages to see what they are going on right now. And we also have student unions, as we mentioned, and they are more focused on the faculty. And they are representing the students, and they also have career fairs. They also involved in student politics, and they also have activities for students that are new at their faculty. A lot of times, if you have any issues on your faculty, the student unions are the ones you can turn to. And then we also have Academic Society, AF. It's their main building is the pretty building that looks like a castle in front of the main university building. And they have activities such as the student radio, they have theater, they also provide lectures, orchestras, they have a debate society, they have also provide housing. So if you live through AF Bostäder, the Academic Society is the one that is in charge of that. So yeah, so all of these 3 that I just mentioned are part of the Student Lund membership. And we will publish a quiz on Canvas on the 24th of January, which will have some questions regarding the information we will give you during our webinars throughout the week. And 3 people will be able to win a prize. So keep look out for that on Canvas in the orientation guide. So if you feel like you need some more information, we have, as we mentioned, the website for current students on our Lund University website. We also have the International Student Guide. We also have the Canvas page where a lot of that information is also published. We also have the International Desk Facebook page where we publish a lot of current information. And you can also contact the International Desk Facebook through Messenger and ask your questions there as well. For academic matters, we ask you to contact your coordinator at your faculty, your international coordinator, or your program coordinator. And the International Desk is open for any type of questions, so you can find us at studentreception@lu.se. And so during this coming week, we have a couple more webinars planned. So we have health and well-being seminar, how to get involved in the student life, seminars about value and discrimination, digital student association fair, where you can meet different nations and organizations, biking and traffic safety seminar. And those are all published on the Canvas orientation guide in the calendar. So you can find both the Zoom links and the information about them on Canvas. And we also are going to publish the Study Center webinars on Canvas as videos later on this week.
So that's the end of our presentation for now. What we'd like to do then is look at some of your questions and see if we can help answer them here and now.
So one of the questions is that will these slides be available? Yes, we are going to publish these slides on the Canvas orientation guide Facebook orientation guide page. So these slides will be uploaded there as well with the recording of this video. A person asked who did he contact if they cannot attend the first course meeting. You should contact the course coordinator and also your international coordinator as well. Someone asked about the student Lund card, and some of you have already paid your membership but have not perhaps gone to a nation yet. And you have to do that in order for the card to be valid. So if you want to buy a 30-day ticket for on Skånetrafiken, for example, if you want to buy a student card, you have to have an active student Lund membership. So you have to go and join a nation for the student Lund card to give you student discounts.
Yeah, we have a question about bike rentals. Yes, there are some places that you can rent bikes. There's a couple of the stores that actually you can buy the bike and return it to the store, the same place. For example, one of them, Lund University, we know is very popular with students, where the owner sells bikes to students, but then you can, at the end of the semester, sell it back to him. And from what we hear, it's quite reasonable, the rate. There are rental bikes. There's something called Lund University, and there are these bikes that you kind of see along the road. What you need to do there is it will ask you to register with a Swedish person number, but in your case as international students, you don't have that maybe. So you put in 4 zeros as the last 4. You can't use your student number because of the letters.
We have a question, to access campus and classes, do I need a student card or is it not necessary? No, it's not necessary to enter classes. Because those are usually open, the rooms, for example, and the buildings. Those cards can be used if you booked a room, for example, and also if you want to access buildings outside of office hours, then you might need to use it, but not for classes that are scheduled on campus now.
Yes, we have a good question. For students who are studying here for 12 months, that's 2 semesters, can they apply for a Swedish personal identification number at the tax office? It depends on your permit. If you have a residence permit for more than 12 months. In August, usually when students are arriving, it's actually a 10-month permit, so it's not usually allowed. But since we're starting in January and the classes may end next January, it's possible you have a residence permit for more than 12 months. If you do, you can apply for a personal identification number from the tax office, and often it can make things a bit easier, so we do recommend doing that.
And we have a question, where can I go to get my Erasmus certificate of arrival signed? You should go to your international coordinator with that, and they will also have to sign it at the end of your stay as well.
There's a question, is there a deadline to join a nation? There isn't, but if you've paid the fee, then the second step is to join a nation. And now even with Corona, I think that you don't have to go there physically. Some of them have Zoom and other ways that you can join the nation without having to physically go there. But that's one of these steps that they've had because they want to know who their members are. So they've kept this, trying to keep it a bit personal where you go there yourself. I think you're not even able to join a nation this week. I think it's next week starting that you can join a nation. So it's a good time to explore and think about which nation you want to join. And some of the activities we're providing are a good way to find out which one you'd like to join.
And a person said that they asked for the email to the migration officer at Lund University, and I've published it in the chat, but you can also find it on Canvas under student under student life and migration issues, if I'm not mistaken. But it is on Canvas as well. It's in the chat in this meeting as well. Somebody said, so to clarify, so we get the LU card at the library and the student Lund card at the nation. Yes, exactly.
And the student Lund card now, it's no longer a physical card. It's actually an app in a phone. And that's the most updated way for you to show that you're a student. And that if you want any student discounts, then you have to have the app and the card in the app.
And someone asked, can you please repeat where to get the student card? Yes. You can get it at the Lund University library, the main library. You can get it at the Faculty of Law library, and you can also get it at the Engineering Faculty Study Center. But if you go to the Canvas orientation guide and you go to arrival checklist, one of the points is get your LU access card. If you press that link, you will get to our website where we have the information of the addresses and opening hours as well.
For students who are at Campus Helsingborg, there's also a room on the second floor of Campus Helsingborg. If you ask in the reception where the card room is, then they'll show you the way.
Somebody said, why can't I register for all my courses? Questions regarding courses, you should contact your international coordinator.
Some faculties are doing things in different ways, so we can't give you a standard answer of what's working for you, as each faculty and each course and even different programs can do different types of registration. Okay, we have a good question. The exchange students, it's a question about joining Student Lund. We have sent out links. We were working together with Student Lund and have provided them with the lists of updated students that we had at the time to join Student Lund with a direct link. So this email was sent out in early December. And students, I think around the 5th to the 9th of December, students got a link from Student Lund to join directly. If you're a student who did not get that link, you no longer need it. You can join Student Lund anyway by contacting, I think you can upload your letter of acceptance to the website. But we can write a little something in the Canvas page to clarify that, I think.
We have another good question. Where can I buy SIM cards? So you can buy SIM cards at any food store or any convenience store, like a 7-Eleven, for example, or Pressbyrån. But those are the ones that you can buy a card and then you can top it up with money. If you want a phone plan, you should go visit one of the phone stores. We have 2 in town, for example.
Yeah, there's a question about, are there any events or fairs where nations come together and exchange students can go and find out more about the nations? Yes, we have previously, pre-COVID, we've had a physical fair where all the nations and student organizations come together called SAF, the Student Association Fair. We've done it digitally now. So in the Canvas course, you can find a scheduled event called SAF or Student Association Fair. So this year it's digital, and we're using a tool called Wonder, where you can create a bubble with your name and your face, and you can kind of move yourself around the screen and talk to the different people at the different fairs. So it's a digital version of a fair this year.
If you want, somebody asked how to join a mentor program if you haven't yet. So unfortunately, the mentorship program, signing up for it is closed. But if you have a friend or maybe a corridor mate that is in or a classmate that is in a mentor group, you can ask that person to ask their mentor to add you to the group. So as long as you find a person that is in a mentor group, ask them to add them to their mentor group.
Yeah, we have a question about helmets and biking. There's a law that under a certain age, people have to wear helmets. I can't recall exactly the age. I think it's 16 or something like that. And over that, you're not required to wear a helmet. But we are going to have a great seminar about biking and biking safety from the municipality of Lund, who's going to help us to clarify the different rules and things like that. And maybe you've noticed some people have kind of a large black thing around their neck when they're biking. There's an airbag helmet, and it was actually invented here in Lund, and it's quite popular among Lund citizens and residents. It's called Hövding. So if you see people without a helmet, they may anyway have a helmet that you just can't see. It's not a hard helmet. It's like an airbag that pops up if you have an accident. So you can look that up if you're interested more in some of the inventions at Lund University.
Are there some places to print lessons or scan some documents in Lund? Yes, if you get your LU access card, you will be able to print and scan on the printers and scanners that are on Lund University campus. Just make sure that you follow the instructions, and you need to put money into the LU access card, but you can get information about that when you create your card, when you go pick it up at the library or the law faculty or engineering study center. But yes, you can use scanners and printers on the Lund University campus.
There's a question about, as an EU citizen, if you have to get a Swedish personal number or if it's recommended. It depends a little bit on what you want to do. There are a lot of services that are much easier if you do have one. So for example, the healthcare services in Sweden can be quite a bit easier if you have a Swedish personal identification number. You can go online and have a lot of online services to book tests and things like that. You can much easier get a bank account in Sweden if that's something you want to do. And you can do, there's quite a few things that are automated in Sweden. It's quite paperless, and having a Swedish personal identification number helps enable this paperless way of living. But if you don't feel you need a bank account, and if you feel you can get by with other things, if you also are here just for one semester, then you don't have to do that. It's a bit of a choice for you if you want to, if you're here for at least a year.
And a person asked, we have pre-registration day tomorrow, but should I have already registered to your courses? So people who are exchange students should have gotten information about their pre-registration day, that is tomorrow, from their coordinators, and you will get information about courses and registration tomorrow. Then if you haven't gotten information by tomorrow, please contact your coordinator and ask them for directions. Somebody asked about the student Lund membership and if they can join nations this week, even though you're not able to join a nation yet. Unfortunately, you have to have if they require a student Lund membership, then you have to have been to a nation. But since you go to that nation for an event, you can probably ask them if they can help you sign up on the spot. I would reach out to the nation or the that organizes the event you want to go to, just to double check if that's something that they can do.
We have a question about traveling and public transport and student discounts. The Student Lund membership is part of a company called Studentkortet. They have a cooperation with Studentkortet. That's the company that gives the student discount. There is another one called Mecenat. Students at the Faculty of Engineering who join the Engineering Student Union usually have Mecenat cards, and those give the same discounts. You can also choose Mecenat card for another reason if you like as well. If you're studying in Helsingborg, for example, there's not the same amount of nations as in Lund. So but although there is definitely some student life there, there's both two student unions, and there's I can't remember the name of it, Helsingborgian. There's a club, a student club there as well. So there's lots to do there, but you can choose to have another student discount card between Studentkortet and Mecenat. But we have created a video just about the student cards because we do understand it's a bit confusing. So in the Canvas page, we have a very good video about the 3 different types of cards, both the Lund University identity card for getting in and out of buildings and making and printing material, and the 2 different student discount cards that you can choose from.
Yes, and someone asked if the public transportation is free with the LU student card. No, the public transportation is not free, but with the Student Lund membership, you can get a discount on the ticket price. And the Skånetrafiken app, the transportation app, is applicable to both buses and trains.
Is it necessary to have a COVID test to enter Sweden if you have a residence permit? I'm not sure this is an exception. I would like you to double check on the entry regulations because they're changing constantly. So if you haven't already entered Sweden, that can change anytime. So please look at the links that we've sent you both in emails and the links that we provide on the Canvas page.
Is there a map for the course locations other than the map that it was provided? You can see abbreviations in my time schedule. If you copy that abbreviation and search for it in Google with Lund University, you can find information. Usually the faculty where it is will show up. Otherwise, you can contact your course coordinator and ask them about the abbreviations as well.
There's a question: as an EU citizen, do I need to leave biometrics? It's only for students who have applied for residence permits at the migration board, and usually the migration board has told you have to go do this. It's up to start. Some people have to do the biometrics before they leave their country. Some do it here. So if you haven't if you haven't been in contact with the migration board, then it doesn't apply to you. Yeah. Can a student get tested for COVID? I think it was recommended after arrival. It would be good to know if any symptoms show up. Yes, you can get tested for COVID. You have to we have a list of the different healthcare centers in Lund, Malmö, and Helsingborg. You should find one that's close to you or easy for you to get to. Try and contact them, let them know that you're a new international student and you need to get a COVID test. If you have trouble with that healthcare center, please just call another one. You have to be maybe a bit persistent. It's not very easy if you're not in the electronic system for them to handle it, but we have to be very clear. I don't have a Swedish personal identification number and I feel like I need to get tested. I need some help to get an appointment to get tested. So make it very clear that you don't have a Swedish number.
There's a question about banking and using a Swedish personal number. So most of the banking in Sweden or banking activities would require a Swedish personal number. It's very difficult to open a bank account without it, and then having an online banking, you have to have a physical banking account, and for that you will have to have a personal number. So it is very difficult to have a Swedish banking account without the personal number, Swedish personal number. And related to that is a question about if you can open a bank account if your residence permit is for 6 months. You have to have a Swedish personal number, and a Swedish personal number you can only get if you are registered for more than 12 months of studying. So to answer your question, that will be very difficult to open a bank account with a residence permit of 6 months.
There's a question about getting vaccinated. There's a telephone number we've provided that you can call to make an appointment to get vaccinated. It's on the Canvas webpage. Yes. Can we get the EU digital COVID certificate? This is a very good question. We've gotten this question a lot. It's not currently available, but they know that there's a big issue with it not being available for international students and people, even Swedes who have been vaccinated outside of Sweden. So they're working on a solution. We've been told preliminarily it should be by the end of January, but we have to be prepared that it could take longer, as these things can be very difficult. So it's not currently available. But if you have not been vaccinated and you get vaccinated here in Sweden, make sure to ask them when you book the appointment and when you're there getting the vaccination, how that works, that you can prove that you've been vaccinated. I think they might be able to help you with a kind of certificate to show that you've just been vaccinated here before, and then later on you might be able to get the COVID certificate. But it's good to, the phone number we provided for you about vaccinations, about how to make an appointment. Any questions you have about vaccinations, it's best to pose them to the professionals who are working there. So call that number if you have any questions, or if you want to book an appointment, or you have questions about the COVID certificate. Is the digital event called Digital Student Association Fair? If this is referring to the event where we have lots of student organizations, yes. So we won't have all of the student organizations because there are really a lot, but we will have quite a lot of student organizations. So the ones who are available, they'll be sitting there for those 2 hours at their little bubble, and then you can go and talk to them. With a European health card, is that enough to get an appointment at a Swedish hospital? This is a good question. I think actually it's best if we take some of these questions in the next seminar, the health and well-being seminar. We're going to talk a little bit about healthcare there, and we can go into some more of these kind of details. So I'd like you to join us next time, and we'll get into more details about how the healthcare system works in Sweden, and how it works with the European Health Insurance Card, the different types of insurances that our students have. It'll be easier to take everything then. So please hold that question for the next seminar. Yeah, any questions about COVID certificates, please call the number and ask them. I believe that's all of the questions for now. If there are no other questions, we would like to say thank you for your time today. And we'll see you shortly at 11 o'clock for the health and well-being seminar. Thank you.